Hi, Dan.
Hello, Ryan. How are you?
Good. I'm not going to ask you about your mustache.
Thank you.
You got your starters lined up, or can you announce your starting pitchers for the next two games?
Yeah, games 1 and 2. George Kirby will start tomorrow, and then the Rock, Luis Castillo, will start on Sunday for us. As we've talked about before, we feel like our entire starting staff is so solid, and we're excited to send those two guys out the first two games, and we just know that all our guys, we feel like we have faith in everybody, but these two guys will be starting, and excited to get those guys out there in front of the home fans here at T-Mobile Park, and just the excitement that comes from games 1 and 2. I think it'll be an energy-filled couple of days.
Dan, are there any other factors that went into how you slotted Ryan Cal, home road split?
Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of things. I think, that's the key is trying to take in all the information. Rest becomes a factor, how long it's been between, when they've pitched, some of those things. We've had a chance to get some rest this week, which has been beneficial for everybody. You look at, I think both of these guys have stacked up pretty well against Detroit this year, as have our other guys. And so I think, again, we've looked at a lot of different things, and we're excited that it's going to be George and the Rock.
Go up in front to Dan.
Dan, how much did their success here in Seattle pitching at T-Mobile also play into it, and maybe some of their challenges on the road as well? I mean,
you look at some of those factors again, how they perform at home, on the road, what they've done against certain teams, whatnot, and again, some of those factors play hard, some of them don't, and we've try to take it all in, and I think, again, we know all our guys. Starting pitching is one of our strengths, and we trust anybody that goes out there to give us a solid outing, and we're just, right now, the way things stack up, it'll be George in game 1 and the Rock in 2.
Taryn in the front.
Logan has said that really multiple people on the pitching staff have said that this is a team of 5 day 1 starters, between Logan starting the season this year, Luis last year, George now with the playoffs. You've talked so much about the depth the pitching staff has given you, but how does that help when you find yourself in these situations when you really have just so many options to choose from that you're confident in?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, being somewhat of a luxury that you can run, anybody out there that's going to give you an incredible outing, and we've done it all season long, and these guys have delivered as they have, and again, this is going to be, this is no different. We've got 4 guys that we're going to be able to run out in this series that are going to give us outstanding outings, and we feel good about that. We're excited about that, and I think our focus really is getting ready for tomorrow night and being ready there.
Go to Tyler in the middle.
Hey, Dan. How did Brian Wu come out of yesterday, and will he be on your roster?
Yeah, Brian, threw the ball well. Again, that was, a step forward for him yesterday, kind of according to plan and where we're at. Going to continue to see how he feels today when he gets here for the workout, and again, we'll continue to gather that information from him and his health, and we're going to make those decisions later today, and in terms of the roster as well, those are things that we're still waiting on, and we'll put it all together once we get all the information together this afternoon.
Go to Tim here in the front.
You obviously have a couple good pitchers still available. Is it safe to assume Logan for game 3, or have you gone down the road that far yet?
We're just looking at games 1 and 2 right now, and I think like we said, we're excited. We're excited about whoever we send out there. But right now, our focus games 1 and 2 here at home, getting started tomorrow night, getting started on the right foot, and that's where our focus is.
We'll stay on the right with Adam.
Going back to George, just what have you seen out of him in particular over the last month or so? Obviously, a really strong finish for him to end, kind of a difficult year otherwise.
Yeah, I think we saw some really good outings from George late in the season. As we've talked about, his ability to attack the strike zone. I think we saw something in George, especially, all our guys really kind of find that mental spot and that mental space to go to and really compete. And George was able to do that, down the stretch. His ability to attack, his ability to put guys away. He's had some big outings, for us along this stretch and during our streak there towards the end. It's just a good spot for him to go out there again and continue that same mode that he's been in.
Stay on the right, Katie.
Dan, famously, George was the last pitcher to take the mound here at T-Mobile in a playoff situation, and obviously there's some unfinished business there. What was his reaction when you told him, and how excited do you think he is to get out there?
Yeah, I think all these guys are excited about getting out there, I think when you look at this kind of a playoff setting and the atmosphere that they're going to be in, it does elevate you to different places. And having some experience and learning how to take that and make it a positive for you. Sometimes it can take you in the wrong direction, but I think these guys having the experience they've had in the past helps them to turn it into the positive direction. And I know these guys are really looking forward to taking the mound and using that emotion in the right direction. And that's obviously a big motivator. And it's, not just for pitchers, position players too. Take that energy, take that excitement that comes from being in the playoffs and being in October baseball and, learning how to channel that in the right direction.
We'll stay in the middle, Nico.
Thank you. Similar question to what Kate just asked, Dan, but George started that game as a rookie, shut out the Astros in that game. What is it about his makeup that makes him really kind of cut out for these big moments like this?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think George has the ability to kind of slow things down in some ways, and the way he approaches it, he finds the ability to slow the moment down, slow the game down a bit, and go and do what he does. We've talked a lot about identity throughout the course of the year. I think George is very tuned in to who he is as a pitcher and what he does well, his strengths. And when you're in these moments, it's the time to rely upon your strengths. And that's what George does so well. Attacks the strike zone, gets ahead, gets, hitters into tough counts. And that's what, good pitchers do. That's what George does. And that's what he's able to do even in the big moments.
Go on the back left, Shannon.
Dan, what has it meant to have, hi.
Hello, Shannon.
What has it meant to have the rotation healthy in terms of how well they've worked together in between starts and have really fed off each other down the stretch? And also, is it going to be a little bit of a benefit that guys like George, guys like Logan, are kind of blowing the innings for where they've been in recent years?
Yeah, that always helps. I think, not having been taxed quite as much this season will help as we keep getting deeper into October. We've talked so much about this pitching staff, the uniqueness of the pitching staff and the bond that they have between themselves, their ability to push each other, their ability to encourage each other and hold each other accountable. I mean, it's a special group. And, I think the combination of all of them is it's what makes teamwork work in a lot of ways is just their ability to be there for one another. And I know they're all excited for each other. They'll all be pulling for each other and pushing each other as we get into this, in October.
Go to the middle, Ryan.
Dan, you guys haven't played the Tigers in quite a while, but the philosophies that AJ has are still pretty much the same. His willingness to go with his platoon and his matchups, what kind of challenges does that present late in games when you have your bullpen and you're looking at guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, we, you have to weigh everything when you're making those kinds of decisions, and bullpen decisions obviously are some of those that you make. And I think that the good news there is that, as we say with our starters, we also say with our bullpen guys, we love the guys that we're able to put in there in those situations, regardless of where the platoon sits. And obviously you want to try to match up as best you can. but there are times where it doesn't match up, and we know our guys and can trust our guys in those situations as well. So I think we're, again, because of the rest we've had, because of the experience we've had this year, we're in a really good spot here, and it's go time. We're getting excited about tomorrow and getting started again.
We'll stay in front with Taryn.
In George's last start, he talked about tweaking his sinker a little bit, and we saw how that played out. Just at this point in the season, where almost at the end, going into the playoffs, how difficult is that for a pitcher to make an arsenal adjustment like that and implement it? And from your experience as a catcher.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, baseball is always a game of adjustments. That's what we do, and I don't think you're going to make major overhauls here before October starts, but you can make minor ones, and whether it's a hitter putting his hands up a little higher, something along those lines, you make the adjustments you have to make, and I think George was able to make that one, and I think again, it's something that works. It's tested, but this game is full of adjustments. It's just not a time to make overhauls, but at the same time, understanding that you have to do what you have to do, and I think George understands again his identity and what he needs for that, and it's been a big strength for him.
We'll come back on your right to Tim.
Dan, you got a chance to see Emerson in that role out of the pen a little bit in September. I'm just wondering what stood out about him making that transition to the pen and how his stuff maybe played differently than him as a starter? Yeah,
I thought Emerson handled it all very well. That's not an easy adjustment, as we've talked about, but obviously a velo tick in the positive direction, I think, was something that we love to see. I thought that sort of helped play his changeup a little bit better, and when he was able to locate that and keep it down, the velocity and the change of speeds worked well. I thought his sweeper actually looked really good, as well. And I think it has helped that some, and we were able to see that when he got a little bit more extended out in the longer outing that he had. So I think a lot has been thrown at Emerson here towards the end of the season, and I think again, we talk about adjustments and making those adjustments. He's done a really good job of it, and has given us his best here towards the end, and it's been really good.
Anything else for Dan? All right, Dan, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Cal. Jeff Lance, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, good to see you.
Let's start with Cal Raleigh. Who wants to lead off for Cal? Going once. We'll start with Ryan in the front.
Cal, they announced that George is going to start game one. You've seen him the last month. What makes you confident that he's ready to handle this and pitching well?
Yeah, I mean, this last month's been great. Really been hitting his stride really well. And, we all know it's been there. It's just, fighting those injuries, trying to get into that consistent routine, and just kind of getting back into that, mentality and that kind of routine. So, we've seen him do it before in playoff games, both out of the pen and starting. So he's done it before, and, I have a lot of confidence in him going tomorrow.
Go in the middle with Nico.
Cal, certainly one of the things you've mentioned so much with this team is how you guys have that ability to take it day by day, and that's what's made this group special. How do you balance that with obviously looking around and seeing how different it is now in this playoff atmosphere?
Yeah, I think obviously number one, enjoy it, take it in. We're gonna have a lot of fun and enjoy these games. It's what you play for all year, and this is the time where it gets fun. Everybody's gonna be on their feet. It's gonna be a packed house. It's gonna mean just a little more, obviously, being in the playoffs. So, we're excited, and it's just finding a way to take a deep breath here and there, and just resetting yourself every once in a while, every inning or so, or and just getting back to the basics and trying to keep it just like a regular game, which we obviously know it's not. But like I said, finding a way to get back to even, and taking that deep breath. So
go in the back middle, Tyler.
Cal, for you, as the season went on, and you're home run totals escalated. Did you notice a change in how pitchers approached you? And if you were getting less to hit, how did you make sure that you didn't miss the one pitch you might get?
Yeah, I mean, there was multiple times this year. It's a cat and mouse game. It always has been. It always will be. It's happened multiple times. Maybe this year it just happened a little more frequently than often, and it's just understanding. I got good better hitters behind me, so not trying to expand too much, not trying to feel like I have to get the job done myself, or I have to hit this amount of home runs or whatever it is. It's knowing that I go up there, swing at good pitches, try to hit the mistake like I always have, and try to keep it as simple as that.
And also, how have you been able to utilize this ballpark? I mean, we know it's a pitcher's ballpark, I guess, but you hit so many fly balls, more than most guys do. Did you tailor your swing to hit fly balls in this park, knowing that you have the power to get it out of there?
Not really. Obviously, I know my swing is my swing, and when things are going good, I'm getting extension, and when I get extension, usually it's when you're hitting line drives and balls in the air. So it's kind of what I've always tried to do. Not trying to lift, more so just trying to get extended. So I wouldn't say I've tailored it necessarily to this park, because it's not really a great park to hit in general. So just trying to put good swings on it, trying to hit the ball hard, and the rest will take care of itself.
Go to Ryan in the front.
Cal, the last time you played the Tigers, you had gotten swept in New York. You went into Detroit and swept them right before the All-Star break. What do you remember about that series, about how you guys played in that series, and can you really take anything away from it, considering it was right before the All-Star break?
I mean, yeah, it's been a long time. That's a really good team over there. They've been obviously they hit a little skid at the end of the year, but it happens to every team, and we know that we're gonna have our hands full this series with them. They're a really good ball club. They do a lot of things exceptionally well. Bat to ball, really good staff, good bullpen. So we're obviously. We won the series, but we don't really put too much stock into that because everything's different this time of year. So, like I said, we're gonna have our hands full. They're a very good ball club, and looking forward to the series. And this time of year, it's not gonna be easy no matter who you face. So,
come on, you're right to Dan.
Cal, I think it's been just a little over 6 months since you were sitting right here for the contract extension press conference. What has this past 6 months been like for you? Just the whirlwind of, the historical milestones, the All-Star week, winning the West. Just what's been just the roller coaster of an experience for you?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. First off, obviously, getting to win the West, last week was something super special, and something we haven't done in 20 plus years, and it was just nice to enjoy it with the guys. Let the guard down, really just celebrate with them, and like I said, something that hasn't been done in a long time, so it meant a little more, doing that, and doing that was amazing. And yeah, with the rest of the stuff, contract, and then everything that kind of came after that with the hot start, and then the home run derby, and what felt like every single day, some stat being thrown around there, it being talked about on TV or whatever. So it was just crazy, something I never thought would happen, and something I don't really have much for it. It's just been a crazy kind of ride this year. So
Go on left, Taryn.
Cal, you mentioned at the end of the regular season wanting to just instill to the rest of the clubhouse, like, stay in your routine, just keep doing what you've been doing. We've seen the past couple scrimmages, the lineup especially, doing what it does, scoring with the homer, but also just getting on base and hitting in a variety of different ways. Just what have you noticed from the team over this bye, especially considering how this is a position that a lot of guys in the clubhouse haven't been in with the bye?
Yeah, I honestly, the last 2 days I thought went really well. Went pretty smoothly. I thought it was good that guys were treating it kind of like a game situation. We were able to get out there, from all the small details, having, people in the stands, the PA announcer, the jumbotron on in full uni. So just the small things like that. It was good to kind of just simulate a game and get out there, and guys were taking it pretty serious. The guys weren't up there just hacking first pitch every time. We're working counts, working situations, and try to put the bow on it today. Finish up all the prep and get ready for tomorrow.
Go on the back left, Shannon.
Cal, you've got a lot of playoff experience on your team up and down the roster and with the starters and the bullpen as well. But what about the group that was there in 22, the experience that you guys had? What do you take from that and take into this time?
Yeah, I mean, with the, winning the wild card, getting to the DS last time, obviously we're in a little different position this time, and I think just hopefully we can take something from it. Not taking anything for granted. We played 3 tough games, but we just weren't able to finish those games against the Astros a couple of years ago, and understanding that it's important to finish, it's important to stay locked in, things like that, and hopefully we can combine that with obviously having a few other guys here as well who've been in the playoffs, Naylor, the big one that's kind of included in that. So we have guys that have been here before, which is nice, but we know that just not being satisfied and trying to, finish the job is going to be important this time.
Come on, second row on the right here, Katie.
Cal, the StatCast numbers on Kirby's sinker don't look all that different, but he has talked about how he's made a grip change, and obviously, just looking at the field, you see 14 punch outs. From your perspective, what is different about that pitch?
Than in years past, as you're saying? I mean, I don't really see a big difference in it. I know pitchers are always, it's the same thing with hitters. Like, sometimes you lean so far one way with a grip, and then you got to kind of go the other way with it, just to kind of get that movement profile back. So he's done a great job. I think for him, it's always come down to the locating. I think the stuff's always been there. But I think over this last month, he's done a really good job locating, and he's found that confidence with it. And, whatever it is, whether it's a grip situation or some cue that he has going on, it's doing what it's supposed to right now, for sure.
We'll stay on the right with Dan.
Cal, you've talked for years about your appreciation for the fans here. How much do you feel like this year in particular you've really connected with them more as your public profile continues to grow?
Yeah, I mean, they've been great all year long. They've been great, years prior too. So it's not like this is a new thing or anything. It's just it's kind of taken on a different level maybe than years past, and they've been amazing, and we're really looking forward to seeing them this week. I know they're excited for this weekend, and it's going to be a fun weekend for sure.
Anything else for Cal? All right, Cal, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
George Kirby should be in momentarily.
What's that? Yeah, he'll fix it. Oh, no, he's good.
Yeah, I guess. No, I didn't. Oh, really? No, it's really pretty. It's a little windy. Especially coming down. It was so smoky though, like so you know you don't pass the road and blew it. Pass. You couldn't see it. It's smart that stuff. Like it blast, pass. It's all about casual. It's smoky as hell.
If you can, sure. All right, thanks for coming in, George. We'll get started with Ryan in the front row again.
Hey, George.
What's up?
Just what was your reaction when Dan told you you're going to start game one of the division series, and kind of discuss your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I mean, for one, I was super honored. You know, it's a big game, and yeah, something you always dream of, being able to start game one, or or any game in the playoffs for that matter. But yeah, I'm super excited, and ready to take the ball tomorrow, and go out there and give it them all.
Stay on the right with Tim.
You knew you were going to throw at some point, but were you surprised at all to get the call for game one?
No, I wasn't surprised. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll go with Dan on the right.
George, you've talked after your last outing about just kind of the focus on the mental side of the game. How much has that helped you over the past month or so?
Yeah, it's been super helpful. Like I said before, kind of just being able to just write something down. Just kind of the idea is just get your feelings out. Kind of don't leave anything on the table, and kind of just allows me to forget about a lot of things. Whether it's the a bad game or just some like stress or anxiety leading up to something. It kind of just allows me to get a little freedom and kind of just worry about the game instead of everything else that goes along with it. So just being in control is kind of the only thing I can control, and then after that it just gives me more confidence and stuff like that. So
go to the middle with Tyler.
George, the Mariner pitchers are always been so good at attacking the strike zone and throwing strikes, and you personify that. How are you guys able to be so confident in the zone, and how did that approach kind of resonate with your mentality when they started emphasizing that in the minors?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since day one, we always heard just dominate the zone, and like quality strikes in the zone. I think they did a really good job of just hammering that in our minds, and then all of us, that was kind of the identity a lot of us had before we got with the Mariners. But I think a lot has to do is just confidence, that you can just beat people in the zone, that you don't need to expand so much, and hitting's hard, and you just have that go at them type mentality. More times than not, you might win that battle. And what they've always said, like 94% of the time you throw a first pitch strike, you either get the ball back or it's out. And a lot of people take that to heart. So I think it's one, just them pushing that mentality into us, and then two, just everyone has unbelievable confidence in themselves and their arsenal to get guys out.
We'll go in the front, Taryn.
Last time you guys faced the Tigers, it was right before the All-Star break, and since then, starting rotation has gotten healthy. Everyone's kind of really hit their stride. Just what do you think you guys can take from that series before the All-Star break and apply it to the team you guys are now, even with the lineup with the additions of Naylor and Gino? Yeah, I mean, obviously having Nails and Gino back in the lineup is awesome, but I think it'll be good to go over game plans from then. But right now, playoff time, kind of you kind of get rid of your ego, and everyone's just playing for one goal, is just to win the game. So kind of however we can do that, give our team the best chance to win. But that's kind of the mentality. So
go to Ryan in the front.
George, I'm curious about the journaling, and did Byrne turn you on to that? I know a lot of other players do it. And when you're writing stuff down, are you writing 10 words? Are you writing 10 pages? Like, does it vary? I mean, like, because you talk about it being really helpful. I just didn't know kind of what the process is when you do that.
Yeah, I think the best thing is just to, don't try and write the perfect thing down. You kind of just spew everything out. Just feels the best that way. You don't leave anything in the tank. So, and then whether you grab him to talk about it or whatnot, but yeah, you just kind of just let everything out on paper, and it just feels a lot better. Yeah, pretty much.
We'll stay in front with Tim.
You obviously got some experience in 22 going through the postseason. I'm curious, what were your sort of takeaways when you look back on that, things you learned and experienced in that playoff run?
Man, just you should enjoy the moment, I think, is the biggest thing. Playing 162 games, just getting in the playoffs itself is a huge accomplishment. So just kind of being grateful for that. And then honestly, the adrenaline is just my favorite part. Like, most of the time you're going to have your best stuff, at this time of the year, getting in these games. And, just having the fans behind you, your teammates behind you, just, everyone kind of just coming together and, just getting after it. Was kind of my favorite part. And just like the close battles, everything about the playoffs is awesome. So I'm excited.
Going the back left to Shannon.
George, the rotation had some struggles this year, particularly with health, and then getting back into it. Where do you see them right now? How did they get there, and will we see your knuckleball?
Probably won't see the knuckleball in the playoffs. But, yeah, everyone, all the starters right now, they're feeling good. Everyone's in a good spot, health-wise. Hopefully Woo's been doing really well, too, so we could see him back. But yeah, I think, just like the rest of the team, we're all just kind of playing really well at the right time, and everything's clicking. Guys are playing free and kind of just enjoying the moment. And you can really see it too. It's not some like you might just say, but like you can actually feel it too, which is really cool.
We'll go to Adam in the front right.
George, going back to the injury for you in particular early in the season, how did you navigate that your first time on the injured list in your career? And just at what point did you feel like you were right again this season?
Yeah, it's never good being on the IL or whatever, being hurt. But yeah, it kind of takes a little bit, just to kind of trust your body again and just have that same sort of confidence. But I don't know, I guess when you stack a couple good games and kind of, limit some, I don't know, like the more you go, just the more you feel better, you start hitting corners better, all that kind of stuff. So I think just limiting damage in certain areas, stuff like that. And then honestly, just for me, just kind of feeling like myself out there again, confidence-wise. And I think this last month and been feeling really good. And even before that, but right now I just mentally and physically feel really good. So, yeah.
Anything else for George? Go in the middle.
George, the numbers indicate that after you came off the injured list that your arm slot has dropped this year. Because of that, have you felt like at times this year as you've had to work your way back that you've kind of had to learn how to, maybe certain pitches in particular, how to throw them differently from a different arm slot? Has that been an issue you've had to work through?
Yeah, I think just maybe from command, that was a little bit challenging, just kind of figuring out arm angle and whatnot. But, this last month or two, I feel like I'm kind of back where I need to be. And instead of, I think I was kind of aiming a lot, just kind of really, because I wasn't used to not missing a lot all the time. So just kind of stressful. And then, you kind of just go back to, just being yourself. It's not really a mechanical change or anything like that. It's just honestly just having confidence and, right when you release the ball at that moment, you're just free and everything just takes over, all your practice and everything like that. So when I was able to get to that point, it was a lot easier for me. But I think my arm's gotten higher as the season's gone on, so that's good. Yeah.
Is there any correlation in your mind with transitioning from the splitter to the changeup with your new arm angle, or are those separate things?
They're separate. I just, it was more just like a feel thing. It wasn't really arm slot related, but you know, that's gonna be a pitch I'll still work on in the off season, try and get it back for next year. But yeah, right now curveball, slider, and the 2 eaters have been working really well. So you know, just keep intact in zone with those, and it should be good.
Anything else? All right, George, thanks for coming in.
Cool, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. A little housekeeping. If anybody wants the transcription emailed to them, come see JJ over here. He can put you on the list to get those in your email. And the Tigers clubhouse will be open in about 10 minutes, and the Mariners at 3:30 in the clubhouse. Next guy in here is AJ Hinch at 3:30.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Adam, are you just going to play this?
Yep. Or we could all just get on the list.
You know, I get a little bit of help every now and then.
Do you want our guys to like passing for Tigers? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So not till 3:30.